let's bring in the guests at this hour. We have Supriya Shrinate, National Spokesperson of the Congress and also the Chairperson of Social Media and Digital Platform of the Congress Party, Rakesh Sinha, BJP Spokesperson, Sanjay Kumar, Psephologist and Professor of CSDS. We also have Professor Sandeep Shastri, National Coordinator of Lok Niti. Rakesh Sinha, a lot of messaging coming in from the Prime Minister, but he has also, used this platform for sending the message that the Congress cannot win elections on its own. And he has, of course, reasons to say so because of the statistics which proves that it's very difficult for the Congress to win those elections. So yes, he is celebrating his victory, but he's also emphasizing that fact.
Prime Minister has rightly pointed out the Congress because there is a complete bankruptcy on the part of a political party. The party, which has a history of more than 150 years, is now ideologically not in the position to convince the people that it can govern the nation. Secondly, its leader has no vision. The leader without vision, the party without any ideology and social base cannot be a party which can compete with the BJP. I am giving one example. There can be differences on the definition of secularism and democracy, but there are certain common points for a nation. When there had been attack on Hindus in Bangladesh, many people blamed Kamala Harris, who was a presidential candidate in USA. She was silent. But what about Rahul Gandhi? What about Mamata Banerjee? What about Sharad Pawar? This shows that their philosophy is deeply rooted in the politics of minoritism. They are representing the forces and the traits of balkanization. On the other hand, BJP represents the forces of integration. At each and every moment, whether on the social plank, cultural plank, spiritual plank, they are in the quest of issues and the incidents which could be used against for balkanization of the country. So therefore, I consider that the people of this country are getting more and more conscious with the spread of the technology, and they are in the position.
Got it. Rakesh, just be with me for a moment. Let's get a quick reaction.
The result in Maharashtra.
Right. Let me just get a quick reaction from Supriya Shrinate. I know it's early time, Supriya, but in terms of the performance of your alliance in Maharashtra, is there any immediate reason or any immediate factor which you believe has resulted in things not going your way?
Thank you for having me on the show. It's a good evening to you, your viewers, and my fellow panelists. Now, first of all, before answering your questions, I will have to counter the BJP spokesperson. Sure. Because using words like balkanization at a time when Manipur has been burning for 1.5 years and the Prime Minister hasn't found a minute to visit that state, nor has he made a single appeal for peace, please don't talk about integration. The reality is that Mr. Modi's divisive agenda has been vehemently rejected by Jharkhand. And I want to say this in absolute terms. The Prime Minister, after talking about Mujra and Mangalsutra in the Lok Sabha elections, was talking about Beti Chhin Lenge in Jharkhand, was talking about some figment of his imagination, Ghuspatia, and Jharkhand has squarely rejected that divisive agenda, has squarely rejected the Prime Minister's appeal on Ghuspatia and other things like that. The day the Prime Minister goes to Manipur, have the moral authority to talk about integration. Otherwise, don't open your mouth on integration as far as this country is concerned.
Let's focus on Maharashtra, Supriya.
No, I will not focus on Maharashtra because the other person was talking about things like these.
No, you've answered that question. So will you answer my question on Maharashtra?
I am coming to Maharashtra. Yeah, I will. Obviously, I will. I'm here to answer your question. I'm here to answer your question.
Great.
But I cannot look the other way when somebody is
No, you made your point. You have very forcefully made your point, which is why I'm requesting you to sort of look at Maharashtra.
I am a very forceful and a very effective speaker. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome, my old friend. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Yes. I'm absolutely okay with you correcting me any time of the show, as long as you also correct the other side. He peddled some narrative.
No, you answered is my only point, Supriya. I'm not disputing what you're saying. I just wanted to
get coming to Maharashtra. Yes. There were two elections. There were two states that went into election, Maharashtra and Jharkhand. The reality is that Maharashtra has been hugely disappointing for us. I am not going to look the other way. I am not going to shy away from the fact that Maharashtra has disappointed us. We got our strategy wrong. We got our ticket distribution wrong. We perhaps could not, lay threadbare what the Mahayuti was doing enough. Of course, Maharashtra has been disappointing. But on the same hand, we won Jharkhand and Mr. Modi has been squarely rejected and defeated there. I also want to make one more point here. While we've lost Maharashtra, And it hurts more because we had won Maharashtra handsomely in the Lok Sabha just a few months back. In the Lok Sabha, Maharashtra was electing the Prime Minister. So Mr. Modi, when he was on the ticket, Maharashtra rejected him. But when he was not on the ticket, the strike rate is 132 out of 148. That's quite surprising. But of course, they have won Maharashtra. I deliver them congratulations. I, of course, will only say one line before I end my first argument. And that line is, you should be graceful. The speech of the Prime Minister, pedestrian, attacking the Congress party, saying the kind of things. The reality is, even Maria made that comment. How about a direct contest in Telangana and in Karnataka and in Himachal, squarely defeated? So it's very rich for the BJP spokesperson to sit here and say the Congress in direct. It was only in a direct contest did you lose Himachal decisively and Karnataka. And your B team at play in Telangana and squarely defeated there. Our worship went up by 20%. So let's not look the other way. Of course, they won an election. Congratulations to them. But Jharkhand is something they've lost.
And we'll talk about Jharkhand because...
Professor, Sandeep Shastri here in the studio, and we also have Sanjay Kumar. The question is that the buck stops with whom in the Congress party after this defeat?
The party would love to say that it is a collective responsibility. But I think ever since 2014, when the national election was lost by the BJP, by the Congress, it's important that the responsibility be fixed, because unless that is done, you cannot really talk about a change, you really cannot talk about a strategy to be able to deal with the ruling party. Now, this collective responsibility thing is fine, but then it does not help you really place the responsibility on the shoulders of a person or a set of persons or a set of events that have caused a debacle. Now that needs to be understood, and if you notice what the BJP has done, that recovery has been very fast whenever they have lost. And one is hoping that for the sake of a strong opposition in this country, something similar is seen within the Congress party.
Okay, Sanjay Kumar, the question of course is of where did the Congress party get its strategy so wrong? Its present strike rate in Maharashtra is 15%. So that's really concerning. I mean, it is just above Sharad Pawar's 14% or 13%. But here is a national party. It contested on 101 seats. Vidarbha was once upon a time seen as a bastion of the Congress party. It has been routed in Vidarbha. Where do you think the Congress has got its strategy wrong in Maharashtra?
Maria, when a party suffers such a bad defeat, it can't be just one factor which may have led to such a bad defeat for a party. There has to be several factors or several things which went wrong for the Congress. And I would say first, the ticket distribution. They took very long, with the alliance partner to figure out which alliance partner is going to get how many seats. And they have not been able to put up a united front in front of the people. The news about differences about seat sharing always come in public, which does not go well in the minds of the common voter, because that creates a perception that look, the alliance is not cohesive even before the tickets are distributed. So that does not create a positive atmosphere, positive buzz in favor of the ruling party, the alliance.
Right.
But more than that, I think the big problem, in my opinion, is that there was no positive narrative on their side. They relied heavily on the two narratives. One is Samvidhan Bachao and the second is the caste census. So I think that did not work in favor of the alliance, because that was these are the two issues on which state government has nothing to do. So people thought that on these two issues, it is the central government which acts.
Okay.
This is an election to elect the state
half
government.
a second, Supriya, would you like to respond to that you had a negative campaign, right? That's what Sanjay says.
Yeah.
No, I'd like to refute him, and I'll tell you why. In any campaign, if you're going against an incumbent, you will have some amount of negative campaign that you're going to mount. You are going to expose their failures. You are going to talk about the scams. You are going to talk about the misgovernance. There is no denying that if you are taking on an incumbent, you're going to do that. But we had a very positive campaign as well. We were talking about Mahalakshmi. We were talking about soya bean procurement at 7,000 a quintal. We were talking about a dearness allowance for unemployment. We were talking about a farm loan waiver. I think where I concede, and I will concede here, I think where I concede is perhaps we could have made these announcements a little earlier so they would have reached people on the ground. We perhaps failed to do that. I concede that. But was our campaign only negative and not positive? Not true at all. I mean, we were a part of the government in Jharkhand. We had a very positive campaign there because we were the incumbents. Okay. But if you are the opponent, if you are the challenger, you are going to challenge on some amount of negativity, definitely. And a very small point I want to make in just a line here. It's very fashionable, of course, because we've lost an election, we're going to hear from everybody. Everybody is going to give the two bits. And that's welcome. In a democracy, that's how it should be. But to say that Mahavikas Aghadi was divided, how united was the Mahayuti? They were divided even on their main slogan for the election. The reality is that Mr. Fadnavis was blaming Mr. Pawar for not being able to win Lok Sabha. Mr. Pawar was saying he doesn't agree with something. Ashok Chavan and Pankaj Mode were talking about something else. Let's not forget the catfight that happened there. They won an election, all right, but let's not gloss over everything that happened.
But is there a sense, Supriya, when it was Sharad Pawar who was in many ways leading the campaign of Mahavikas Aghadi in the Lok Sabha polls, the strike rate of Mahavikas Aghadi was really high. You managed to actually send the message that Mahayuti has been rejected by people of Maharashtra. But if we look at the picture now, it was clear that it was the Congress party and Rahul Gandhi leading this campaign. Do you think you got the messaging wrong then?
Actually, I have been a little perplexed about the whole premise of the show right from the beginning. We are almost talking about Maharashtra as if the Congress was fighting it all alone. The Congress was in alliance with the NCP, the Sharad Pawar faction, and we were in alliance with the Shiv Sena, the Uddhav Thackeray faction. And there is no denying that we have failed collectively. We are not going to say that they have failed and we have not failed, or, we failed, they have. We're not going to say that. It is a collective failure of the Mahavikas Aghadi. The premise of this debate from the very first sentence to the question that you asked me almost seems to suggest that the Congress was fighting this election on
but
alone.
Supriya, I think the question is fair, Supriya, and I'll tell you why.
Let me please finish. You can then tell me why. The premise of this question, I question the premise of this question, and I'll tell you why. Even in the Lok Sabha, Mr. Pawar, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, Mr. Kharge, Uddhav Thackeray, we were all campaigning all together.
Sure.
So I don't know where this just come from that this was being led by
but Supriya, I'll tell you why I think it's a fair question.
It's fashionable to denounce Mr. Gandhi. I'm not going to take it like
Supriya, I'll tell you why I think it's a fair question. It is a fair question because you are the primary opposition party. That's certainly what the Congress would like to see itself. You've been the large partner of the alliance in Maharashtra and elsewhere in the country. Therefore, when a party as large as yours doesn't do well in a state as large as Maharashtra, we talk about, and it's not that we've not spoken about the alliance partners. We spend the morning talking about the NCP
this show
and
right from the beginning is only talking about
but
the
I
Congress
think what I'm
and
saying
not
is
about
fair.
the
Now,
Mahavikas Aghadi.
is it not
It's
a
only
fair
fair that
question
we
to
talk
ask
about
the
the
Congress as the largest opposition party, arguably in the country? Right, the primary opposition party, right? So hence the question I think is fair. But let's move on from this.
Let's bring in Rakesh.
I just wanted to in fact go across to Professor Shastri. I know Rakesh ji is waiting. Professor Shastri, in one-on-one fights between the BJP and the Congress in recent times, Haryana was one clear example. This one as well.
Madhya Pradesh
and Chhattisgarh. It just seems
then Himachal was won by the Congress
It's a
party.
problem for the Congress in one-on-one fights.
In more cases, it seems that when the Congress and the BJP are in a direct challenge with each other, the BJP tends to do better. And even if you look at the Jharkhand result, the strike rate of the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha is significantly high. It is 30 plus out of 40 seats that they contested. Whereas in the case of the Congress, the strike rate for the 30 seats they contested is slightly less than 50%. So while we must credit the Congress for the victory in Jharkhand, that was a victory where the JMM played the major role. And the Congress, of course, was important in the seats that it contested, which were largely in the non-tribal area.
Yes.
So, in direct BJP Congress fights, there has been a challenge, and this is something that the Congress and its leadership and strategists would need to look at as to, because unless the Congress improves its performance in those direct fights, its role as the leading opposition in the country would then be dented, and they would not be able to fulfill that as effectively if the straight fights continue to go the way they are.
Rakesh ji? Rakesh ji, you had a point you wanted to make. Go ahead.
No, in fact, presently there is a shift in Indian politics. There is a nationalization of regional politics. Earlier, for the last 2 decades, the national politics has been regionalized. Now the things have been reversed because the central government has connected itself with the common people and in the remotest area. That is the biggest achievement Prime Minister Narendra Modi has delivered to this country. Every caste and class which have been marginalized for centuries and decades are now at the mainstream. And so the social inclusiveness and fiscal inclusiveness, these are 2 contributions. And the Congress contribution in the national politics and democratic politics is that earlier there were 2 people in parliament. Out of 3 people in the family, all 3 are now the strike rate of the Congress in democracy through via dynasty is 100%. Now Priyanka Gandhi in the parliament. I am surprised. The naked dynasty is playing its role, and that too. And they are daring. They are challenging the Democratic Party. It is so sad. I would prefer Supriya Sule should be in the parliament rather than Priyanka Gandhi in the parliament.
Can I please come?
There are 3 points here very important in the Maharashtra election. Just let me finish.
Yes, please go ahead, Rakesh.
There are 3 points which are very significant, vital for the Indian politics. That in Maharashtra, BJP has projected itself not only a party of development but also by a social inclusiveness, which Congress failed. Secondly, the bunch of corrupts cannot compete with the culture nationalists. They suffer with this their credibility deficit. As far as Uddhav Thackeray is concerned, he is one of the examples of the ideological corrupt. It is ideologically corrupt. How he belongs to a family and his father was a votary of Hindutva. Now he is just reversing the politics of Hindutva.
Okay, Rakesh ji, let's
Supriya
respond to that.
You've made lots of
points.
Congress party is not in the position to lead in any coalition, not in the position to convince the people, and I think this electoral obituary to the Congress politics in Maharashtra.
Okay, Supriya, respond.
I only hope that Vishnu and Maria, you will listen to me with as rapt an attention as you listen to the BJP.
I always listen to you with rapt attention.
Thank you. Listen to me now and don't interfere for the next 2 minutes as you give the 2 minutes to the BJP spokesperson. You really want to talk about social inclusion? What happened to social inclusion in Jharkhand? You want to talk about corrupt practices? Well, the newspaper of RSS Vivek has categorically said that Ajit Pawar is corrupt and should not be with the BJP. Why do you still have him? You were calling him most corrupt in the evening. You swore him as the Deputy Chief Minister the next morning. Please tell us something about corruption. You're talking about ideological corruption. I'm talking about monetary corruption. Who's going to answer that question? And I want to go back to this democratic election of people. You want to question Priyanka Gandhi's election. She has won by over 4 lakh votes. Mr. Modi barely scraped through with 1,50,000. And you really want to question her election? Are you questioning the fact that the people of Wayanad democratically chose their representative? Is that what you're questioning? Priyanka Gandhi has not been nominated at the favor of someone. Priyanka Gandhi has won a well-fought battle in which the BJP was decisively trounced. The CPIM came second in Wayanad. You really want to question a section of people in India by calling out her election? Really? Is that what you're going to do?
No,
I hope one day you are going to contest the election of a Gram Pradhan and you will then realize what it means to contest and win elections in
my
this
question
country.
is different.
It means winning the trust of people.
With the Congress party registering a strike rate of 15%, its worst ever performance in the state of Maharashtra, where they called the shots once upon a time, the spotlight is again on Rahul Gandhi. What has become clear now is that Rahul Gandhi's leadership is rusted and that he failed to set the narrative which could have had resonance with the people of Maharashtra. Why is it that the Congress party is failing in its messaging? Why is it that the Congress did not get the sentiments of people of Maharashtra right. There are multiple questions that the grand old party now faces in several states, including Maharashtra now. Remember, the Congress and the India bloc did get that momentum after the Lok Sabha results, where they managed to bring the BJP's tally to 240, below the halfway mark of 272. It was seen the opposition having some kind of momentum. But what has become evident now, first after Haryana, now after Maharashtra, that the Congress party, which is in many ways leading the India bloc, doesn't really have the narrative right, doesn't really have the messaging right. Let's try and analyze for you as to what is going wrong with the Congress party under the leadership of Rahul Gandhi. He may not be officially the president of the Congress party, but he is very much involved in the decision making and in strategies. It all begins in 2023, Madhya Pradesh, where it was almost a done deal. It was seen as Kamal Nath going to be the next chief minister, but the Congress loses the state. History repeats in the neighboring state of Chhattisgarh, where Bhupesh Baghel, seen as the poster boy of good governance, loses, and what happens is that it becomes worse in 2024 Haryana, because the Congress there, completely ridden by factionalism, faces a resounding defeat at the hands of the BJP, which was not even given a chance in the state of Haryana. And now you have the state of Maharashtra as well. So multiple factors at play, ladies and gentlemen. What is becoming evident is that the Congress party has become clearly overconfident. It was overconfidence that brought them down in Madhya Pradesh. It was the same sentiment that they were at striking distance from the power in Chhattisgarh. That was the reason for the downfall of the party. Same sentiment that all the factionalism led to the downfall of the party in Haryana, where they had almost decided to have negotiations for the potential cabinet formation. What is becoming again evident is that the Congress party is actually bringing down its allies. Let me give you one example of Jammu and Kashmir, because the Congress often talks about, when you discuss Haryana polls, they say, look at the Jammu and Kashmir results as well. What was the strike rate of the Congress party? Just look at this. The National Conference strike rate is 75%. The Congress party's strike rate is 15%. What do you say of this? Similarly, even in today's victory in Jharkhand, it is Hemant Soren's victory, not of the Congress party. Their strike rate even there is dismal. And what is becoming clear is again how Rahul Gandhi, his decision making is becoming deeply problematic for the grand old party. Let's look at the strike rate in terms of how the number of rallies that Rahul Gandhi addressed. This time around in Maharashtra, on seats that Rahul Gandhi addressed their rallies, and whether it converted into or translated into victories, Rahul Gandhi's own strike rate is 14%. Overall, the Congress party's strike rate is 16%. So does it mean that Rahul Gandhi's own supporters certainly feel that he's not able to draw votes? He's not really a vote catcher. He may be getting the eyeballs in terms of the noise that he generates, but it doesn't really translate into votes. Let's look at some more factors. Vidarbha, an important region for both the alliance partners, be it the Mahayuti or Mahavikas Aghadi. Here, out of 62 seats, on 40 seats, the Congress party was contesting. Remember, of 101 seats that the Congress has contested in Maharashtra, 40 comes from this region of Vidarbha. What happens here? You're looking at the numbers. It certainly is worrying if you have a strike rate of 20%. Just look at these numbers, something that must give Congress party a lot of reasons to think. Looking at Marathwada now, an important aspect of this, again, a significant dip in the strike rate. It is at 13%. Overall, Maharashtra strike rate of the Congress party is just about 15%. Now, looking at the caste census narrative, Rahul Gandhi's pet idea, something that brought together the India bloc during the Lok Sabha polls, but something that failed miserably in Maharashtra this time around. When Sharad Pawar, the doyen of Maharashtra politics, ran the campaign in 2024 Lok Sabha polls, his strike rate of the entire Mahavikas Aghadi was 62%. Perhaps it would have been in the best interest of Mahavikas Aghadi to ensure that it was Sharad Pawar should have led this campaign as well. But what happens now? When Rahul Gandhi leads the campaign, the strike rate comes down, just takes a dip, a direct dip. Well, these are some statistics to show that there are a lot of issues ailing the Congress party. There are reasons for the decline of the Congress party. There are issues of internal divisions, defections. There is lack of decision making. And what is concerning is that this grand old party is the principal opposition party of the country. So think about it. India needs a strong opposition to ensure checks and balances.